New development footage for Tomb Raider. Legacy of Atlantis has been released. And honestly, what I watched showed me the Lara Croft I have wanted to see for a long time. They are not just updating the graphics of the old game and putting it in front of us. From Lara's running to her jumps, from her interaction with the environment to the way she explores tombs, the entire movement system is being rebuilt. On top of that, their goal is not to erase the Survivor trilogy or copy the 1996 Lara exactly as she was. They want to combine the best parts of both eras and create a modern Tomb Raider that is still classic at its core. So, do the new details show that they can achieve this? Let's take a look together. At the center of the new developer diary released by Crystal Dynamics and Flying Wild Hog are Lara's movements and the Traversal system. This may sound like a small detail, but for Tomb Raider, there are very few things more important than this. Because what makes Lara Lara is not only her dual pistols or the tombs she enters, grabbing onto a ledge at the last second, climbing walls, and crossing areas that look impossible with acrobatic moves are also a huge part of the character's identity. The game's director, Raul Sequeira, says their main idea during development is Lara Croft at the peak of her career. In other words, we will not be playing a young Lara who is just learning how to survive and is shocked by everything that happens to her. This time, we will play an experienced adventurer who knows what she is doing, is prepared for danger, and willingly enters the deadliest places in the world. We already watched Lara's development in the Survivor trilogy. Now it was time to see that confident, iconic Lara Croft. This approach has also been reflected in Lara's animations. The developers want her to move in an elegant, fluid, and unique way. In the new footage, we can see that Lara is much more acrobatic compared to the Survivor trilogy when she is running, climbing, and jumping across gaps. But they are not turning her into a weightless superhero either. When Lara lands from a high place, we will feel the impact of the fall, and when she makes a dangerous jump, we will understand that the move is truly risky. While preparing the movement system, the developers did not look at only one era of Tomb Raider. They brought together the acrobatic structure of the original games with the modern controls of the Survivor trilogy. Lara will be able to run, make long jumps, climb walls, and connect different moves one after another. I think this is the right approach. Bringing back the spirit of the classic games is one thing. Bringing back the stiff control system from 30 years ago exactly as it was is something completely different. It also seems important that jumps will not be completely automatic in the new system. In order for Lara to cross a large gap, we will need to build up speed correctly and jump from the right point. In the example shown, Lara reaches out her hands at the end of a long jump and grabs the ledge at the last second, and whether she succeeds or not depends on the move the player makes. This is exactly what I want from Tomb Raider. Instead of the game doing everything for us, I want to feel like I really succeeded when I calculate the distance and make it across. The camera system will also be used to strengthen the feeling of danger and scale. When Lara is climbing a massive cliff, the camera will sometimes pull away from the character and show how enormous the place we are in really is. Because one of Tomb Raider's strongest sides has always been temples, cliffs, and forgotten structures that make Lara look tiny. When the camera pulls back at the right moments, it will both show the environment better and make the climbs we perform feel more cinematic. Lara's grapple will not be just a simple tool used to swing from certain points either. In the new system, we will be able to use the grapple to move objects in the environment, interact with puzzles, climb upward, and descend from high places in a controlled way. So the grapple is becoming part of both the movement system and environmental puzzles. If this system works as freely as it was shown, looking around the environment and thinking about where we can use the grapple could become a natural part of exploration. There is also the famous yellow paint issue here, which has been debated in modern games for years. You know how games paint every ledge in bright colors to show where we can climb? Legacy of Atlantis will try to do this in a more natural way. The developers say they will use small surface marks, color differences, and lighting that guides the player's eye toward the right point. The goal is to guide us without leaving us completely lost, but also without putting a huge arrow on the screen. One of the things I liked most in the new details is that the game will not constantly rush us. The producers openly say that the original Tomb Raider was slower compared to modern games, and that Legacy of Atlantis also wants players to study the environment. I think this is great news. Because Tomb Raider should not only be an action game where we jump into enemies and blow everything up, sometimes we should stop, look at the walls, notice a ledge in the distance, and find the path forward ourselves. This also does not mean the game will be unnecessarily difficult. According to gameplay impressions, we will be able to change the guidance level and adjust puzzle and combat difficulty separately. A player who wants to solve puzzles on their own will be able to reduce the help, while someone who only wants to experience the story will be able to receive more guidance. This way, instead of forcing the same experience on everyone, the game will take into account why different players love Tomb Raider. Players who do not want to explore slowly have not been forgotten either. The developers say that by connecting movements correctly, we will be able to pass through sections much faster, and that the game will also allow speedrun players to play that way. One player will be able to move slowly and search every corner, while another can use Lara's running, jumps, and grapple one after another to complete the section much faster. If this system works well, controlling Lara could become fun all by itself. When we explore, we will not only find collectibles, we will be able to gather different resources from the environment and use them to prepare meals or healing mixtures that give Lara temporary advantages. Honestly, I hope this system does not turn into a tiring structure where we collect plants every 2 meters. But finding a truly valuable material at the end of a hidden cave and using it before a difficult section could make exploration feel more meaningful. The Lost Valley area in Peru will be one of the most important locations where all these ideas come together. The famous cog puzzle from the original game is returning, but this time it has been completely redesigned. We will find 2 different cogs, activate an ancient mechanism, and then stop the waterfall's flow to open a hidden passage. On top of that, there is no combat in the first part of this area. The game gives us time to explore the surroundings, try different paths, and understand how the ancient structure works. Areas that felt more separate from each other in the original game are now being turned into larger and more connected spaces. Instead of entering a room, solving the puzzle, and moving on to the next corridor, we will be able to approach the same area from different angles and discover alternative paths. The game will not be fully open world, and I do not think it needs to be. Instead of a huge but empty map, I prefer carefully designed sections where every corner has a secret, trap, or alternative route. When combat begins, Lara's agility from exploration will not disappear. When the velociraptors appear in Lost Valley, we will use our classic dual pistols, but simply walking backward and shooting will not be enough. Lara will be able to roll, dodge sideways, and flip to escape attacks. She will be able to use her dual pistols separately while moving, or aim and fire with both at the same time. So the Lara, who is acrobatic during exploration, will not turn into an ordinary shooter character during combat. The new focus system also supports this agile combat structure. As we attack enemies, we will fill a meter, and when we use it, time will briefly slow down while Lara performs an acrobatic move. This way, we will be able to avoid an attack and shoot while in the air. In a way, they are preparing a modern interpretation of the acrobatic combat from classic Tomb Raider. I hope focus does not become an easy escape button that can be used constantly, and that it really requires us to choose the right moment. When we talk about Lost Valley, we obviously cannot skip the famous T-Rex. It is also returning. When the massive T-Rex comes out from between the trees, not only Lara, but even the velociraptors we were just fighting begin to run away. After that comes a big chase sequence where we try to survive by sliding, climbing, and jumping at the right moments. The developers are keeping the iconic encounter from 1996, but instead of copying it exactly, they are turning it into a more cinematic sequence that uses the movement system. That is also why the producers call the game a reimagining instead of a remake. While preserving the search for the Scion, important locations, puzzles, and unforgettable moments like the T-Rex, they will expand the levels, add new paths, and tell some events differently. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis will be released on the 12th of February 2027 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. What I have seen so far makes me think this is not just a prettier-looking remake, but a game that could truly bring back the classic Tomb Raider feeling. So, what do you think about the new movement system? Are you excited about the return of the acrobatic and confident classic Lara, or do you prefer the Lara from the Survivor trilogy? Do you think Legacy of Atlantis should stay as faithful as possible to the original game, or should it make bigger changes? Share your thoughts with me in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video so you do not miss gaming news like this. Take very good care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.